My name is Phil, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different. My name is Phil, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different. My name is Phil, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different. You are going to be out. You are going to be bigger and larger than ever. That is impossible. And you know why? Because it's you and I will find the power that's been dormant inside of you all of this time. And all of this time, you were afraid to go out no longer. That means the things you will be shocked. You will be the God when God is coming. You will be the one that everybody human says that you look there. The master there, the teacher there, the truth there. The one that will make my life different. I would like to do that. Remember, I'm stuff. I'm here to tell you. I'm here to change your life. Your life will go on. Jesus and me together. I'm going to conquer the world. Oh, you know, everything you imagine possible. It's not possible for one simple reason. Anything is possible. My name is Phil, and your life is going to change. You are going to be different.
Hi all, I'm about to start my radio program. You're on Wi-Fi. Okay, we've had some little problem connecting with the internet just now, and what I'm going to do is it's trying to connect me to the VPN, so I've turned it all off. So I'm naked to the world. And also at the same time, let me also turn off these things so that people know that I'm going live. There's a lot of calls coming in. The whole day I was free, and no one calls. And when I'm not free, everybody calls right now. So let me just put on this thing. Ooh. And that's the thing that just started up, and we have it here so that I can take questions. You're listening to Dr. Mel Gill. This program is called Uncommon Sense. It's co-hosted usually by me and my son, Luke, who is now a little bit busy. He's in Bulgaria, but he's trying to get a lot of things together, and he's got important things happening as well. And he joins us right now. Hey, Luke, welcome to the program.
Good to be here. So sorry I'm late. It's been an
absolutely
crazy past couple days.
Are you using a microphone, or do you need to come a little bit closer?
Hang on 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
This a little bit better now?
Yeah, it is. It is. Are you using the microphone that was on the desk?
Yeah.
I don't think it's on the side that you speak. I think you speak at it from the top.
Is this one a little bit better? If I turn it around
much better. Now it's much better. Beautiful. Yes. Okay, you had it backwards?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Kantinan, also known as Ong, who did the translation for a lot of my work and is continuing to help me as well, says hello from Bangkok. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi.
And Abida Bevi and Maria is also joining us as well. I've forgotten how to pronounce words. I mean, stay away for 6 months, is it? From Europe, and already it becomes very difficult. And Kelly from Australia, who is not asleep. It's they're 2 hours ahead, so they're 11 o'clock. So hey, Kelly, says hello, boys. And
hey, Kelly.
So today, Luke, I was gonna touch on aspects of spirituality and what it means to wake up. Wake up. That's not what I was. What did I say? To awaken to your full potential. To the fact that you are not a body having spiritual experiences, but that you're a spirit having uniquely physical experience in your bodies, and the bodies are always, discarded and so on and so forth. But before I launch into that, I wanted to get from you some of the questions that people may be asking you, because we posted your email the last time, and I try not to get too much, because my email, I get 300 to 400 mails a day. It's very difficult. Some of them, and some people are lost in between. They go direct to spam and things like that. Especially if they have a if they have a tag, a subject line like "Guess what happened," then it starts to go into spam. So
Yeah.
so
Well,
how have you been? I have not talked with you the whole week.
I've been good. I've been very busy. I'm still trying to awaken myself. Last night I had like 2 hours sleep. Was up finishing some stuff,
Okay.
and this new Costa coffee they have downstairs has been lifesaver.
Oh, the powder stuff. I may have to ask you to send some back here this way. If I'm not getting there, now is September. October end is my plan, but I don't know if I can get it there, get back there in time. So we'll see. The second wave is elusive, and it looks like the vaccinations from Russia, from everywhere in the world, are now being tested, even in India and everywhere. So we'll figure out who has the best vaccine. There is no side effects for the Russian vaccine, except that you start to be able to read and write Cyrillic. But that's about it. So anyway, Sawas Cup, Ong and Maria, hello, and Elizabeth, hello as well. So if any of you would like to join us, I have just put you, and if you want to have a chat, or you want to be part of the stream and ask some questions, or even answer some questions, you are most welcome. It would be very, very cool. Today, Luke is going to stay on till 5 his time, and that's 11 my time, right? 10 o'clock my time. And
yep, I have to jump off immediately at 5. But I'm looking through the questions that got sent to me now, and we do have a few actually about awakening and spirituality.
Oh, okay, good.
We have one young lady who's asking how she becomes more aware, and because spirituality is something that people say is an inward journey, what support can she seek from outside in order to grow that awareness and grow that sense of spirituality?
So there are like 3 questions in there.
Yeah.
Let's start with the first one. The first one was, remind me again.
How does she become more aware?
When you have an awareness of your 5 senses, we call it in applied psychology of various forms, behavioral therapy and all that, we call it sensory acuity, being aware. So your visual, your auditory, your kinesthetic, your olfactory, gustatory, your sense of smell, sense of taste, sense of sight, everything starts to increase. And the way in which to increase all of that is very, very simple. I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever done it before, quite the way that the mystics do it. And they spend months and years building it up. It's to take a vow of silence. I mean, literally, don't say a thing. Don't say a thing. And when you sit down and people say, "Are you okay?" Don't say a word. It's very tough when you live in this whole world because it's very, very difficult to be able to maintain that. But we speak about 80,000 to 90,000 words a day. And how much of that noise do we send back inside of ourselves? So start to build up your sensory acuity so that you can go beyond the edge of what you see to the infrared and the ultraviolet, the edge of what you smell, so that you begin to smell in a multi-dimensional way, multi-time. So you can smell something that happened before. I mean, dogs are so amazing that 30 days after a scent has passed through a certain place, they can still smell it somehow. And what they're utilizing to do that, we have no idea. A sense of hearing that starts to speak, starts to grow, would be very, very difficult as well, because imagine sitting in a place like Yambol in Bulgaria, sitting on a Kapile mountain, and be able to hear what took place 1,000 years ago. How do you do that? Well, the echoes remain, and they're all around, and they're electromagnetic in nature. And the second question was basically what?
The second question was because spirituality seems to be referred to as an inward journey.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any support that she can seek outside to help support her journey?
No, I mean, this is a solitary journey. Spirituality is a solitary journey. In fact, Kelly Atwood just said something amazingly spectacular for her, this woman to pay attention to. Trust her own intuition rather than looking outside for guidance. And loves, no, it's a greater than 3 speak soon. Is it? No. No, I'm just kidding. But that's a love sect. And what it is, Luke, if you start to seek validation from someone, then you are no longer on a spiritual path. You're listening to other people, including quote unquote gurus. Robin spectacularly says, "I'm not your guru," but then you know how the brain is structured in such a way the brain doesn't hear the word "not." So he's professing to be your guru. So you could follow that if the results are what you want. You could follow somebody who is, has everything that you desire, and ask them how did they achieve it. It doesn't have to be a fellow in a loincloth, or a woman in a loincloth, which is every man's fantasy, I guess. But in a way, you have to pay attention to the fact that you are your own guru, and you begin to realize that you have to trust yourself more, like Kelly said. And when you trust yourself more, you begin to realize that the things you're feeling and the lostness, the isness of being, all of that gets substituted when you go straight into the third eye realm. So you start to do everything possible. In fact, after the process and procedures of what's going to take place for you next week, I will send you into another direction, which is what the Rosicrucians did. And when they did that, it started to open up your awareness of non-physical realms. And when you start to pay attention to that, then you walk between two worlds. And when you walk between two worlds, you are practical and spiritual at the same time. You will listen to others, of course. You won't poo-poo anybody. And they say, well, spirituality is this and awakening is that. Thank you so much. And then turn around and do whatever the fuck you want to do to begin with, just and follow your own advice. If it makes perfect sense, like Buddha said, if it agrees with your common sense, then follow it, do it. If it doesn't and the results are bad, then don't do it. Are you getting better? Are you feeling better? Are you feeling more centered? Are you feeling as if you are more empowered? And that connection with the Amrita, they call it literally the Christos that settles in like an anointed oil or something that comes into your system, is bliss by itself. And if you reach that stage, you are happy to be alone. You really are. You just float in this ecstasy of being and connection with the higher force, knowing that everybody else is a connection with the higher force as well. If you follow somebody who's got a lot of things, they're having a tough time with life, they want to kill themselves, and then it's the blind leading the blind. Your grandmother says, hello, hey, Mamji, how are you? So I hope that makes sense for that lady, that's what she needs to pay attention to, that it's a solitary journey, and she's going to feel a lot of things come up. because she's going to be in touch with all of the loneliness, all of the past pain, all of the depression, everything. It's going to feel like that. But you have to go through the darkness to be able to emerge into the light. You can't drag your darkness and your past and all of that with you. You got to reprogram everything. It's a different way of being, a different way of thinking, and it's reprioritizing.
Yeah.
And what was the last part of what she said? There were three questions.
That
What?
was
That was it?
that was the three questions.
Mm-hmm.
We also have one gentleman that asks, if we have bitter experiences in our life, is that because of our past doings? And what type of activities should we do today to avoid future bitterness? And I think what he's referring to is karma, and whether that's something that you believe in.
Okay. So if I sum up the question, it would be like bitter or better, leaving the German meanings out, right? Bitter or better. Your thinking process, what you think about every day, what you focus on every day, makes something the way it is, or perceived emotionally the way it is. It rains today, and so you focus on the damage that the rain is going to do. You're not able to roll around the grass with your lover, so on and so forth, and other things, the floods, the inconvenience of not being able to walk to the bus stop, whatever the case might be. And so when you start to pay attention to that, what's going to happen is you're going to feel angry. You're going to feel quite bitter, like, God, how can you do this? This was my only day. You had sunshine the last 7 days, and this important day, you ruined my clothes, and, no one did anything to you. It's just rain happens all the time. Thunderstorms happen. Lightning happens all the time. So when you start to change your thinking towards what could be more positive about that, well, in Singapore, let's use Singapore as an example. Every time it rains, I look forward to it because it gets cooler. And for some strange reason, Singapore has been experiencing extremely cold weather in the last little while. 20 degrees, down to 20 degrees. Is that even possible overnight? And some person in a 10th or 14th story building took pictures of the rain coming down mixed with snow, sleet. I mean, literally. I mean, of course, it becomes water when it hits the ground, but my God, it's there. The flurries are there. It's unmistakable. And so, and so when you pay attention to these little things, and then for me, for instance, it can never be wrong, even if I have an important meeting to go to. For me, I recognize and realize as I study planetary environments and eco-forming and what do we call terraforming other planets and all of that, that we have one of the most unique occurrences of rain in just about any planet in our solar system. That's quite bizarre that we have the perfect conditions for rain to happen and for sunshine and for everything else. It's like somebody terraformed us precisely. One thing goes slightly wrong, a magnetic anomaly here and there, we're screwed. And how the balance keeps me all occupied. So what they think about, Luke, is going to generate the bitter feelings or the good feelings. Or if they think backwards of how people have screwed them. You and I have been screwed a lot, not in the way we want, but we have been. And so if we focus on that all the time, we're going to be end up like those bitter old men, and goddamn and you'll start mumbling the rest of your time. So we got screwed. So what? Okay, we learned about it. Okay, we lost all this money and time and effort and whatever we built, and it's okay. It's no big deal. I mean, like say for instance that woman in Thailand, God bless her. I mean, she's a wonderful soul, trying to look young. hopefully she succeeds at some point, and trying to become and appear as if she's a very successful so and so, and da 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 da. And we wish her well. We just wish her well and let it go. I mean, hey, we all need that kind of experience once. And to test your spirituality along the way, make things like that happen, or let them happen, and let's see how you respond to it after that. Do you have a sense of humor? Can you turn it into some kind of cartoon in your head and make it okay? Then we can do that. There was another part to the question. No, did I miss?
All the lens.
Huh?
No, I think that's perfect. It's all
Okay.
all about the lens which we choose to look through.
The lens that you put on. Glad Nahlam. How do you pronounce that last name? Glad.
Says, I'm enjoying the talk. It seems I'm struggling to make a breakthrough. I always end up in the same place I started. Are there any suggestions?
We need to have some specifics, Glad. If you want to join us, please, you're most welcome. The link is further up on this feed. But if you can talk about something a little bit more specific, a breakthrough in what? If you're talking about a breakthrough in your... Is this a man or woman? I don't know. Glad, are you male, female? Are you asking from a male-female perspective? Either way, please let me know, and I'll be able to help you through as well. And let me know if that breakthrough is in a relationship, a job, or in a spiritual development stage, and I can help you with those things as well. If you're talking about jogging around a track, yes, you will end up in the same place at least 3 or 4 times before you quit. That's the beginning of the whole thing. It's called a cycle. And most things go into cycle. Relationships, they have cycles too as well. If you want to make a breakthrough with the communication with the opposite sex, well, hey, that's why we have Mars and Venus and people from Mars and people from Venus, because for thousands of years, those kind of breakthroughs are what every married couple is looking for. And one day we'll talk about relationships and we'll discuss how to make those breakthroughs. Otherwise, I'm still in the dark. I'm not sure what it is you're asking me about. Breakthrough in what? And then I can help you in that particular thing as well. Even if we end up in the same place, let's say financially, then it means that we found one way that doesn't work. Now, try to make not so many mistakes like that. Yes, make mistakes. We learn from them. But please don't at the end of your life say, look, my whole life has been a series of mistakes. Don't you learn along the way somewhere? Don't you wise up? If you're repeating the same mistakes, then maybe you shouldn't be in that business thing, or figure out something else to do and sit under a Bodhi tree and start to make meditation in your life or something else. I hope that helps you. Any other questions, Luke? Sorry. You want to add something to that for Glad? I'm a man. I'm talking about spiritual growth. Okay. I'm glad.
And from my personal experience, I've seen a lot of cycles repeat in my life, and I think that each of these situations all has a lesson in it for us, and these situations will keep occurring. These cycles will keep occurring until we learn the lesson that is needed from that particular situation. And I'm not sure exactly what kind of breakthrough in spirituality I'm looking for, but
you have to recognize something also, Glad, that when you go on a spiritual journey, you have to recognize that you are never alone. You will never be alone. Trust me. I had a near-death experience when I was 18, 19 years of age. Came back, but I spent a lot of time on the other side before I came back. And I learned a lot of things. I saw a lot of things firsthand. And then after that, I started to remember. And it's part of a book that's coming up. Has been in the making for the last 15, 18 years. And I haven't even finished it yet, like Uncommon Love and a few other books that are also taking its time. But I can tell you one thing for sure, that when you start to embark on a conscious journey of awakening, of growing spiritually and physically and emotionally as well, because the more spiritual you are, the more your perspectives begin to change. You begin to have a helicopter view of everything. You don't start fighting and barking at the dogs, of every gate that you walk by on the street. You start to look at them and you start to have more compassion for the people that are barking at you, hurting you, and so on and so forth. And as you take a more spiritual attitude, your emotional attitude starts to grow as well. You don't engage with every negative person you meet along the way. Sometimes you'll just let it go, and that's also very, very cool. And so, for you, Glad, spiritual growth is being guided, and you're always being guided. There's always a guide with you. And some people don't know it, but your guides or your what's another word for guide, Luke? It's at the tip of my tongue. It's a simple word. The angels, sorry, these could be discarnate entities. In other words, they could be the spiritual force of the people who loved you when they were alive. So you have to understand that the way the spirituality works is once a person dies and they get reincarnated again and born again and they come to earth, a part of their spirit can be split. The spirit can be split in so many different ways. You could have 5 incarnations at the same time. And when you begin to realize that let's say, for instance, you have a mother who loves you and she's gone. And well, she now becomes your angel. She's closer to you than you can ever imagine, more so. And that is true of a father or a grandfather. It could be anybody that you loved so much. And now they become these guides for you. And they're always watching. Someone is always watching. That's the uncomfortable thing about spiritual growth, because you begin to be aware that you are no longer in a hidden place and that no one can see you. Yes, they're watching you. Yeah, so be aware of everything as well. Kantinan says, could be possible for meditation together. You could, in a group, meditate together, but if you're talking about a couple meditating together, yeah, sure, why not? It doesn't hurt you, but you see, the point is for you both to go inside. What?
I think what she is asking is if we can do a guided meditation on one of our next sessions.
Oh, is that what you're asking? Then please say that clearly. Say, could you guide us with the next meditation? And maybe we'll do the next one as a meditation. We'll do a half an hour long meditation and I'll guide you. And we'll take you to where your mind takes you at that point. Maybe even to help you meet your spiritual guide, that will take you on this journey. You are never alone. Trust me, you're never alone. And everybody learns different things. That's why when you meditate together as a group, it's very powerful if you're all focused on one thing. Not to get something. I'm not talking about meditation for money, meditation for loves, what do they call it? Soulmates? No, soulmate. Yeah, so that's right. Send me my soulmate, this and that. You have many soulmates alone. You don't have to go around soul mating with them. That's not necessary, the mating part. But there's a lot more you have to pay attention to. The small session in Along You Gus Live. What?
Along with you guys live.
Along with you guys live. Luke, there's a benefit to living in Pattaya for so long. You actually know how to recognize what is being said. Okay, thank you. Well, yes. Maybe Friday. Are you able to join us on Friday, Luke?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be here.
Okay, let's do a spiritual meditation on Friday and show you how it's done. And it'll be fun. It'll be my pleasure. Today we're just answering questions and helping people along the way. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask, please write them down in this little StreamYard, And on
Yep.
Facebook, I'm also on Facebook. But you know what? I don't have the questions from YouTube, because if I turn on YouTube right now, I won't be able to do that. So could you ask Ellie to turn on the YouTube with my page on the Dr. McGill page, so that she can tell us what the questions are that I'm
Absolutely.
not seeing in either one of these, because I have my Facebook feed here and I have my Streamline feed there.
Ellie, can you knock on the wall if you heard that?
So
Hang
great
on
in
just
our
1
group
second.
of friends here. Yes, of course, there'll be a lot of fun. Look forward to it. Friday, 9 p.m. Singapore time, 9 a.m. New York time, and 4 p.m. Bulgarian time. Luke is in Bulgaria right now. That's my son, and he's in our home. And I've been away from Bulgaria for a long, long time. I've been away from Chicago for even longer. So I've been in Singapore all this time, and probably will be here until the end of October. Glad says thanks. I've always known that I am never alone. I somehow believe we have 4 guides. Thanks for the help. I don't know how many. If you're with me or standing near me, I'll be able to tell you. But for now, I don't know. Unless we're talking face to face here, then I can tell you. I develop a sensitivity for them because I pay attention to what's there as well. And always remember, don't be afraid of what is spiritual on the other side, especially people who are afraid of when their third eye is open, to begin to see discarnate entities, ghosts, and all of that. And if I give you a summative answer for what ghosts are, they're entities that are not really ready to move on. And so they have a lot of things they want to finish up. They want to get back into the body. They want to continue a cycle of activity and so on and so forth. And when they're ready, and you can facilitate that as a spiritual being and help them to be ready and head towards, like the movie says, go to the light. Then you can help people advance as well. So everything else is just people making stories a little bit. I heard from a friend who heard from a friend who heard from a friend that this person lifted a invisible force, picked up a plate and threw it across the room. And it doesn't really work that way. Although poltergeist activity can be explained as well. So this is not the day for discussing all that. We'll discuss that later. We decided today to focus on spiritual development, spiritual growth, awakening, if you will, and to talk about things that, I don't know, even related to yoga if you wanted to, or see how everything in the universe is interconnected. That was Tibetan, now English. Is interconnected in some way. Any other questions, Luke?
How can I improve my relationship with my significant other? We've been together 10 years, and it seems like the flames are, she said sizzling, but I think she meant dimming.
Fizzling. No, she's meant to say fizzling.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you reading from YouTube?
No, from my email.
Oh, okay. The funny thing is, and why I put, I've been hesitant to put together Uncommon Love, the book, because no one taught us in school the most important skills that we will need. They don't teach us how to make money and keep it, how to invest it. They don't teach us survival skills in case electricity goes out. They don't teach us how to find relationships and keep them happy. They don't teach us how to overcome depression and depressive thoughts and all of these things, how to be emotionally stable. They don't teach us much about mental health and emotional health and financial health, the important things they don't teach us, but instead they make us memorize crap like algebra and things that we will never use, never in our lifetime. Maybe better than most American kids. My kids were traveling around the world when they were very little. So the way in which they recognize the whole planet, uh, they would tell their friends that, hey, we went to Singapore. How do they know Singapore when they're 4 years old or 2 years old? Because they have toys left in a certain part in Singapore. I left my bear in Beijing. I left this in Singapore, and I left this in Melbourne, Australia, and where I have family in New Zealand as well. In Wellington, I left my duck, whatever the case might be. So they identified with toys. But you see, the reason I brought that up is because when you start to think that the ground in which you were born is going to be the home that you live for the rest of your life, it's not. You need to move around. You were not born, flightless. You can actually move around. And now with the flights being the way they are, no one's flying with COVID and everything else. There are so many big offers everywhere to go everywhere and travel and see things at half the price, 1/3 the price, and so on and so forth. See the world, because you cannot have that piece of property that you call home with a house and a brick and cement and everything else, and that is where you're gonna be born and that's where you're gonna die. No, travel. I mean, Melissa Gilbert, I don't know if you know who she is, Luke, who wrote the book Eat, Love, Pray. She and her husband, at that time not husband, he was the boyfriend. They met in Bali. I don't know the whole story, and but regardless, the whole idea is that she and her husband will never stay in one house for more than 7 years. They will move around and establish a home somewhere else, and then start to build that up and everything, make it beautiful, and then sell it to a person and build another house. She is not accumulating stuff because she knows that this is it. This is all. After all the experiences, after all of the love and hoo-ha and everything else, it eventually dies. So with relationships as well, every real love, every relationship is a preparation for the next relationship. Everything has a cycle. Within 7 years, 8 years, you experience what is called couple fatigue, where you get tired of the people that you've been with as a couple, because now the freshness is gone. There's no more mystery because you know everything about them. In the beginning, there's a lot of mystery. Oh my God, you think you live such a what's this secret and what's that secret and so on and so forth. And soon the secrets are all known. And then at that point, the person appears and it's the same old drum roll. And you start to become sleepy. And the next thing you know, you have to make up excuses like, I'm so relaxed with you. That's why I go to sleep. Bullshit beyond bullshit. No, it's not exciting anymore because it's the same old. So after 10 years, do something exciting. Don't expect your lover to spice up the relationship. You begin to do that. See her for the first time, if you will. And the way to see her for the first time is to maybe give yourself a lot more space instead of being so close together all the time that you're always holding hands. I have a little sign in my kitchen. I think, Luke, you've seen it here in Singapore. How can I miss you if you don't go away? So give them a chance to miss you and see what life is like. Or you do a simple exercise, and that is like, pretend you're going to die in a week, and you're really going to die. And so without any symptoms or anything else like that, you're just going to simply collapse and asymptomatically just die. What are you going to miss? The touch, her feel, her smell, her taste. What are you going to miss? So ask yourself these questions, and then you'll be surprised. You will start to see her or him as if you're seeing them for the very first time. Everybody needs attention. No. And like any flower, if there's you don't water the flower, it dies.
I have one more thing to add to that. And it actually popped up because of Auntie Satish sent this story to the family group this morning. I don't know if you saw it. It reminded me a lot of your dot exercise that you used to use in all your upper management trainings. And it's a story about this group of researchers who went and they asked what love meant to a group of 4 and 8-year-old kids, or 4 through 8 years old. And the answers that they got were, so broad and deep and profound compared to, what they gave the results from the adults. And these children said things like, when someone loves you, the way they say your name is different. You just know that your name is safe in their mouth.
Oh, I like
Love
that.
is when you go out to love is when you go out to eat and give somebody most of your French fries without making you give any of of theirs. Um, Love is what makes you smile when you're tired. Love is when my mommy makes coffee for my daddy and she takes a sip before giving it to him to make sure the taste is okay. Um,
Oh, how
love
cool is that?
if This one was amazing. A little girl named Nika, 6 years old, said, "If you want to learn to love better, you should start with a friend you hate." Um, and love is when mommy gives daddy the best piece of chicken. Love is, um, when mommy sees daddy sweaty and smelly and says he's handsomer than Robert Redford. All these little things. And the winner of all of these was a 4-year-old child whose next door neighbor was an elderly gentleman who had recently lost his wife. And upon seeing the man cry, the little boy went into the gentleman's yard, climbed up onto his lap, and just sat there. And when his mother asked what he had to say to what he went to go say to the neighbor, he said, "Nothing. I just helped him cry." And so I think if we, over time we get numbed and our lenses change. But if we change our lens and see all these little things as love and use that to deepen our connection with our significant other, the flame will never fan out. It'll only get stronger and stronger.
Sometimes it's true. No, I loved each and every one of that, because sometimes you have to pay attention to the fact that it's the simple little gestures, the simple little things. Like, say for instance, I let me make it real and specific way with you and Ellie. Okay. Previously, and I'll just leave it at previously. Let's call it BE, before Ellie, and then AE is after Ellie. Okay, how's that for time?
That's good.
I saw a lot of selfishness take place, and I saw you giving in, and I saw you growing. It wasn't a bad thing. I mean, for you emotionally, it was straining, it was hard, and da 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 da. But I saw you grow through it, even though it was quote unquote negative and very draining and very tough and very everything. And now AE. I see that you guys are like those kids that answered in that, what love is question. Both of you participate because you guys connect at a visceral level, not just head. There's a cerebral level of connection, and then there's a visceral body, whole body, and you guys do that. And I'm not talking about the sex and all of that. I'm talking about where, like, you're walking down a beach and she finds something, like a shiny pebble. She shares it with you. Like, really, I mean, unless you're not a pebble guy. Or even in the situation where you were locked in and you had lost everything because of that guy who took everything and you fought back, found your way. And whatever you could come up with, you helped each other to relieve each other's stress. That's what you did. And I saw that. And I was watching. I'm watching every single step of the way. And very few people can do that. And I didn't see that BE. I saw that AE. And so it makes your relationships that much happy. And you got a foundation that you're building on. And this is the foundation. All for one and one for all. The Musketeers sort of thing. Because whatever you have, you share. It's together. It's not me. Whatever is Yours is ours. Whatever is mine is mine. You know that attitude is a little bit different. So I think two people tend to follow, and they have a path that they're heading in a direction that's similar, and so they have familiar and similar goals and similar things that they want to have accomplish along the way, and similar things that make them laugh, and similar things that, many similar things. But you must also have your time apart, so that you can think sometimes. So questions. Glad says, I've always known that we went there. And Elizabeth says, questions from YouTube. How do I use every opportunity and even every hardship that comes my way as a stepping stone for my growth? Well, do you want to answer this first, Luke, before I answer it? Because I have a way of answering it, but I'd love to have your perspective on it. Because you've gone through a hell of a lot of hardships.
For me, it's just about having the right attitude, and seeing a hardship as a stepping stone to what's coming next.
Mindset.
And seeing it, it's through my dad that I've been able to sort of embrace this solution-focused mindset, as opposed to seeing it as a problem. See it as a situation, man.
That's a situation. It's not a problem. It's a situation. Even the hardship is a situation. So how do we get out of it? What do we do? So you start searching for solutions. And I think both Luke and I share a career path, if you will. Yes, he's a NLP behavioral therapist and a counselor, and as well as a hypnotherapist. But I'm the one that creates people like that. I create therapists. I create hypnotherapists and trainers and all of that. This is what I do. And then release them to the world and see what they can create with pure charisma and everything else. But as I'm doing all of that, I begin to realize that you must have the kind of thinking that embraces the good and the bad that comes your way. Don't complain about the bad, because they will happen. So that's where I referred in the last few programs to Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher, who talked about amor fati, embrace your fate. Whatever your fate is, good or bad, then therefore when you wake up and you have an issue, or not a problem, you have a situation, embrace the fate that you have it, and now try to go, what's the next step? What can I do next? And then you find that eventually, as you become more adept at answering all your own questions about getting over this, over that, how to create this, how to create that, how to create a solution instead of being stuck in a problem, then people will now come to you for advice, because you seem to be more solution focused than their own loved ones, their own wife or husband or brother, sister, uncle, aunt, grandfather, grandmother, whoever the case might be. So when you start to pay attention to that, you'd be surprised. The other question from YouTube was, I have so many doubts. How can I cultivate faith? Well, again, it's a mindset. If you had no doubts, then you're probably under the umbrella of what is called the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is what Trump is exhibiting big time. He thinks he's the best of the best. Nobody knows the weather like I know the weather. I know how to be a cloud. I'm the best cloud you've ever seen. The best rain. What the hell, And so when you have absolutely no doubts, it means you're not a very intelligent person, because all highly intelligent people have a lot of doubts. They always doubt. Am I doing this correctly? I'm not sure if I'm the best person for the job. I'm da-da-da-da-da. And these are things you have to fight every day. It comes as a package with overthinking, just to let you know. So when you start to overthink and you say, I could have done this better, I could have done that, I should have, could have, would have, remove all of those. And that, again, takes time to do it, and cultivation. In the books that I've written, Uncommon Sense, Uncommon Love, that's coming up, and so on and so forth, Uncommon Mind, I teach people how to do this, but also in the book that is now out, but it's no more in print. So because I'm rewriting it, I'm trying to condense 480 pages into like 200 so that it's more digestible and not filled with a lot of technical stuff for counselors and so on and so forth. So yes, doubts, they will always be there. But if you, I think it was Jesus himself who said, if you have faith like a mustard seed, you can ask this mountain to rise and fall into the ocean, and it will do so. But a single doubt, just a tiny little bit, will cause that mountain to come crashing down on you. So it'll be very, very difficult. So pay attention to that, and congratulate yourself that you have doubt, because now you're questioning. And then at some point, this is where meditation comes in, and forbearance and wisdom, and because wisdom comes from bad experiences that you've had along the way, negatives and so on and so forth. That's where wisdom comes from, not from doing everything right and perfect the first time. If you did, great, you were in pure preparation mode, you're ready. But if you did not, then learn from it. Try not to repeat those mistakes very often, because you're going to look like an idiot. You might be one. So anyway, how do I discover my purpose in life? Should one try to discover as such? Okay, I'm glad you asked, Glad, because you are already unconsciously living your purpose from the minute you were born in the world. You may not be conscious of it, but unconsciously you're being led in directions, criteria that you set up, emotional criteria, mental criteria, mindset criteria, and it puts you into the group of people that is going to influence you in one way or another, or another group of people that will influence you in a 180-degree direction. So your unconscious already knows what it's doing. You're already living your purpose. Now, when you say living your purpose, it doesn't mean to do a single thing or achieve a single goal. Those are like little points along the way. If you can imagine purpose as a general direction, north. My purpose is north. Then along the way, the goals can be cities north of you, like for Bulgaria, where you are, Varna, Luke, and going north will take you into Romania, into Constanza, and into Bucharest, and then further up and north and north and north and north. So you answer the question about what is my purpose by saying, I am whatever it is your friends and family know you for. And you can ask them the question, they'll tell you. You are a giver. So you say, I am a giver. You're a teacher. I am a teacher. I educate. I am a teacher. This is what I've come, whether I do it as a psychologist, whether I do it as a psychotherapist, whether I do it as a hypnotist, whether I do it as a radio personality or television personality, or even in book form, or even with my children and other people's children. I'm a teacher. This is what I do best. And so you'll answer the question that way. I am a leader, giver, nurturer, teacher. Give me a few others, Luke. Adventurer. Because that can be your purpose as well. Because if it weren't for the adventurers like Amelia Earhart, we wouldn't have people going out there exploring new places. Adventurers like what's his name, who found the Bahamas, thinking he was looking for the United States. Christopher Columbus, who killed a lot of people along the way and gave them wonderful gifts like gonorrhea and death and other things that the natives never experienced before, but now, oh wow, how life changes. So greetings to both from Slovenia. Dejan says hello, hi. I miss Slovenia. I'd love
to see you.
Wasn't Slovenia a wonderful place? Look, gorgeous, beautiful people, laid back.
That was incredible. I'd love to make it back there.
We will soon. A lot of things to do in the meanwhile. A lot of growing to do. Good and quote unquote not so good. Shall we go on with the questions? I think I answered all those in YouTube and all those here. Did I finish and exhaust the ones on email?
No, let me open that up. What do you think is the biggest obstacle to finding inner peace?
There is a saying that ships set off away from the harbor towards unsafe waters because the harbor is safe waters. And the captain doesn't have to worry too much when it's in safe water because he knows he's got everything there and it's in a controlled environment. When you go into the open sea, it's uncontrolled environment. And the difference is that people who are feeling stress, people who are feeling heavy, people who are, what's the opposite of peace of mind? Disturbed.
Disturbed, emotional turmoil.
Turmoil and all of this is when they go into unsafe waters, open winds that threaten them. Their safety is being threatened. So they're looking for a port of safety. And so what happens is people seek temporary ports of safety in a man or a woman that they quote unquote love, give their lives to, and so on and so forth. Big mistake, because that person is also a ship, also in trouble, and both of you are in this turmoil. It's like it's like the blind leading the blind into the Bermuda Triangle, you know? And so the whole idea for peace of mind is to be able to be comfortable with uncertainty, to be able to be able to learn a skill. And the skill is to be comfortable without control. To really know in a mindset way, nothing is in control. Yes, we can plan. Yes, we can build something. And yes, we can have charts on the wall. The ding, the ding, the dong, the dong, the ding, the ding, and we shall be, where we want to be. But then everything has a way of disturbing those plans. And the winds begin to change. The laws will change. Let's say there's a war right now. All Americans have to leave Bulgaria. They cannot stay. Then we're screwed because this was our home. This is what we built for 8 years. Da 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 da. What the hell? Da, da, da. Then you've lost your inner peace. But if you begin to realize that, wow, here's a great sense of man plans and God laughs at the plans. This is the Jewish proverb, right? So you want to have peace of mind, you've got to be able to let go of some of your expectations of your loved ones. Some of your expectations of, well, love should be give and take. I give and he should give back because he only takes. Well, I have bad news for you. That's the definition of love. It comes from the inside out. It doesn't come from the outside in. If it does, then it's a gift from that person, which doesn't mean they have to continue to give that gift. They don't have to. It's not necessary. If you have it, it's a blessing. It's good. But don't be dependent on it because that might change in time to come. That's why every relationship is a preparation for the next relationship. And you can do that, then you don't hold on so tightly. Then every experience with your lover, now you are in AE mode, right? Is precious, tasty, loving, wonderful. See, I set up markers here at 10 o'clock, which is You're 5 o'clock, and soon you got to go. And so you begin to realize that even if we go a little bit over time, nobody can prepare for that. I didn't know I was going to do that, and so on and so forth. Some of the things that you're engaged in right now, which I'm very proud of you doing, could have gone the other way, right? But it's not. You're now experiencing the positives of the reward of all that. And we'll talk about it next week once it's all done and finished and all is set in stone, and then it'll be okay. So some things, like me, for instance, right now you have me, your father, to deal with things and da-da-da-da-da. Who knows? Tomorrow I could be dead, Luke. I mean, for one reason or another. I'm not sticking to any diet of any kind. Just looking at the miserable people. And I said, do you know how they came up with the word diet? Have you died yet? That's a little different thing. It's a diet thing. So they don't want to die yet. That's why they go into, they want to live longer. And so, well, a lot of people who are trying to have diets are trying to look slimmer for other people so that they can attract the love of their life and blah, 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 blah. And then they attract them, and then they get fat while they're with them, and then boom, it's finished. So.
Yeah. Well, there's a silver lining in everything. You got two more surgeries to go before you get one free on that stamp card, right?
Yes. How did you know about that? That's true. Oh, we got to try those newfangled magnetic things, that change with the global poles or something like that. So Ong says nothing is under control. Yes, I think it was Siddhartha Gautama Buddha who said that. Wake up, monks, he called his disciples. Nothing is under control. You cannot control anything. And you think you have some semblance of control, but you don't. And that's Ashok, who is our mutual friend, saying hello. Hello, Ashok. If you want to join us, you can. Luke has to leave. Luke has to leave soon, now, actually.
Yes, I do. I have to go get ready.
Thank you for keep on collecting those questions, and we'll answer them if you will. Those of you who are asking how the heck to get a hold of Luke, it's very simple. His address I'm going to give you now it's lukegill@gmail.com, and he is amassing all of these together questions, and he's also going to be forwarding them to me. In the meanwhile, I'm just finishing a few projects and a few things, and so that I can keep my mind free to be able to do some edited versions of this broadcast so that it won't be live for sure. We'll use the live sessions to be able to interact with people and to ask questions and answer questions in between. Luke Gill, thank you so much. Oh, Eljana says hello. And she has a number greater than 3 as well. It says hello greater than 3.
Well,
if I remember my
math. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being had, Luke.
On Friday.
All right, Luke. Good luck with everything you have to do today. Bye. And that was Luke Gill. So I am now left alone. And Ashok, if you want to join me, and we're having a discussion about spiritual growth. It's right up your alley. Ashok is the mystic, not mystic, yogi, not yogi. What is it? Shaman, the shaman from New York, who can give you some advice about what's going on. Dejan, I started teaching NLP a long, long time ago, 1985, till now. And I was the first one to bring it, one of the first few that brought it from the United States to Asia. And we grew it, and I started to create NLP trainers and teachers, and then we started the Master Trainer program, which has nothing to do with NLP, but we we incorporated a lot of things, and also at the same time ran diploma in psychology programs, diploma in psychotherapy programs, and a few other programs. Then I ran a radio show for 7 years, 2 hours a day, 5 days a week for 7 years. And then I gave that up to travel and live in Bulgaria to be able to find answers that I needed to go into deep meditative states alone. And why Bulgaria? Because for two reasons. Most of Bulgaria I've been through. I wasn't that much attracted, but as a place to live. But I found out secrets that Bulgaria has, and it's coming up in another book as well. And I need to make this clear to the whole world, the secrets that are buried in Bulgaria. I also went there to meet my hero, Professor Georgi Lozanov, who began superlearning, the whole basis and foundation of superlearning in something called Suggestopedia 50 years ago, more than 50 years ago, and saved him from the abject poverty and pain that he was going through. And I think once upon a time he had said to the people with him that he felt that Petar Danov, who is a very wise Bulgarian man, one of the most intelligent people on the face of the planet, actually, who died also, but started this movement called the White Brotherhood. Not what you think, a little bit different. And white referring to purity, of course. And he said that Petar Danov had sent Mel Gill there. In a sense, it was true. In many ways, I did not do very much else to push his work forward, except that in every radio broadcast in Bulgaria, Italy, anywhere in the world, Slovenia as well, I made it clear that I owe a lot of what I have, what I'm creating, to Professor Georgi Lozanov. And so that was, that's how we, meaning me, myself, and I, made him more famous than he was at that time, living in a small town called Sliven. Every newspaper interview, every television interview, every radio interview made sure that his name was mentioned. So finally, before he died, a few months before he died, he was finally given a prize by the Minister for Education. Finally, it's a citation, a certificate, a prize that says, basically wanted to thank him for the contributions that he had made to the world of education, by the Bulgarian Minister of Education. And his words, his only words in response to all of that is, finally. And he had tears in his eyes. It was good to see and witness all that. And I think my purpose, if I died tomorrow, I think that was mostly my purpose in this world, is to make sure that he got recognized. The world of NLP, the world of Suggestopedia is not as cogent as it could be right now, and it's not as clear as it could be right now. But I'm not yet ready to bring everything he has taught to the world yet. There are a few things I need to change and create. Spending thousands and thousands of dollars to do it, though. And it seems like it's getting nowhere. And of course, COVID is making it very difficult as well. And so there's one more obstacle after another, as if when you look at it in the first place, then you begin to realize, as far as the universe is concerned, the time is not yet, or the timing is not yet. So somewhere along the way. Eljana says, first of all, Ong says spiritual growth. Yes, it's good to say that once in a while. Eljana says, I'm so proud to be a Bulgarian. I understand your emotional, but it's not something you did. You just got born. You know, I mean, why are you proud to be Bulgarian? I'm proud to be born a human, not a dog. It's like what yeah, you have no control of that you were born in Bulgaria. I'm proud to be Bulgarian. Man, you're born. You're just born there. There's nothing to be proud about. You're just born. Just like somebody born in Italy is proud to be Italian. No, nothing made you a Bulgarian. You became Bulgarian. Somebody said to you, "Oh, now you are Bulgarian." I made myself Bulgarian. No, you were born, Eljana. It just is. It just is. You are Bulgarian. See it as your responsibility, your nationalist obligation to let the world know that there is this beautiful land of which you are a part, of which you have been born into, that has so many things to see all in one country, so many climates all in one country, so many secrets, ancient technology, Atlantis, all of that is there. And you'd be surprised. And when you talk about Anunnaki and the people that might have seeded this planet, well, the bases that they had were in Bulgaria, most of them. Between Bulgaria and what was now Turkey, Iran, Iraq, all of those places were one unit. There were no countries called Bulgaria at that time. Mesopotamia, maybe, and a few other countries of that sort. I live on a planet where I don't see borders. I don't see myself as a nationalist this or nationalist that. I think the insanity of that is what creates war. And so, as far as I'm concerned, all men are my brothers and all women are my sisters, period. My mother's, my father's, my children. Your children are my children. So, but there are so many children out there without a father and without a mother. Now, if you can, with the use of the internet and all of that, take care of those people emotionally, maybe not financially or physically, but emotionally, then that would mean a lot to a lot of people as well. So that would be very, very cool. So I've been talking with Luke for the last little while, and when we were talking about growing spiritually, you have to acknowledge, though, if I can say this to add to everything I said, you have to acknowledge the fact that you do not live totally in the body, but yet at the same time, you don't totally live in the self either. So when you begin to realize that, you begin to realize that this body of yours needs a lot of care. So you want to take care of the fact that there's a lot of stresses you put yourself through, and that more times than not, you need to sit in the forest, in the beach, someplace beautiful, with beautiful people if you want to, and start to pay attention to your body and its needs. De-stress. And if you want the fastest way to de-stress, laughter. If you laugh at comedies or somebody joking or lively people who can joke with you, then you are with people who are on a path of spiritual growth. You're with people who will release, because of your laughing, release endorphins and enkephalins in your blood. Now, the stress, the corticosteroids, or the stress in your system will eat away, oxidize your organs, and you will die. But when you laugh more, then enkephalins, endorphins cannot exist with corticosteroids. So you start to become and look, feel younger, more vibrant, and happier at the same time. We have the shaman joining us here. Ashok, welcome to
How are you doing?
Uncommon Sense. Yes, good. Let me turn the volume down a bit. Hold on.
I don't know. Move
Yes,
back a little bit. That will be a better thing because I don't know.
yes.
The microphone on the laptop. I don't know how to turn the.
It's called the gain, and you'll have to do it from the sound preferences in the sound. You have a PC or a Mac?
No PC.
Well, I don't know.
worry about that.
PC stands for piece of crap for me. I use a Mac.
Yeah. I mean, again,
Bye, Aljana. Aljana says goodbye. She's got to bring Anelia from the kindergarten. She's a busy mother. She's just pumping out babies, and it seems like only last year that she was a single, beautiful woman being pursued by everybody and their mother. And she'll bring them by me in the coffee shop. What do you think about this guy? What do you think about that guy? What do you think? And then this current husband, I told her I love this guy. He's amazing. He's such a good guy, And so she started making babies with him. The third one on the way.
Wow.
And yeah.
That's great.
That's very cool. So today we're talking and answering questions, and mostly people wanted to know about spiritual growth and how to overcome difficulties as they're growing spiritually, how to use the obstacles and the pain and the things that stop them as jumping off points, or what do we call them? Stepping stones towards spiritual growth. You want to add your wisdom to that?
I didn't listen to the show. I just woke up and then I'm like, I made it. So I'm sure you gave them all the wisdom about that. And
no, we could always use more. Wisdom is this funny thing. Like water, you can always use more.
Okay, so I may ask you a question which you may have already answered because I wasn't listening to the show. So what makes you think you are on a spiritual path?
Are you okay? No, I won't ask. That's none of my business. But
okay.
Sorry, what was your question again? I was distracted by a shadow.
You are distracted by a shadow?
Yes.
Shadow is right next to me. She's not a shadow.
Oh, okay, good. Introduce us. Say hello.
You want to be introduced? Okay. Come here. That's Katie.
Hi, hello. I'm Mel. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. What's your name?
Pleasure to meet you, Katie.
Katie, nice to meet you as well. I heard a lot about you.
There you go.
All positives. All positives. Don't worry.
I don't say he heard it from. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry for interrupting.
You want to add in anything? He's asking about how do you know you're a spirit. She's a very smart woman. So if you want to add in something, you can come in and add in.
There's a question. I would love to.
There's a question like, how do you know you're on a spiritual path?
No.
No?
The question is from one of the audience members, the listeners. How do you incorporate hardships, pain, obstacles, and all these things as part of your spiritual growth?
Oh,
That's a
you're
tough.
an expert on that.
Okay.
That's my answer.
You want a chair? Yeah, come.
No,
Okay, pull
I
that.
need a chair.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Hi.
pain is part of the most beautiful parts of life. It gives you the opportunity to see how beautiful the moments are when you're joyful. You can compare it to the moments when you're feeling pain.
But when you're going through the pain, though, it doesn't feel good. And unless you're Marquis de Sade or something like that, then you're a masochist and you love to give me more pain. I love it, that sort of thing. But most people try to avoid that. But it does happen. Couples split. Husbands and wives have extramarital affairs. So, it's the same old, the things that cause pain. Trust is broken, so on and so forth. How do you keep in mind that you're a spiritual being that needs to grow spiritually when you're continuously pulled down and having to deal with this earthy situations? You lose your job. You
She said, what did we get, Guru? She said,
what?
She said,
what do you call shaman?
she said,
Shaman of New York.
so how do we do that, Guru? Like, okay.
The shy shaman from New York, yes.
Shy shaman. I don't know why he called. Oh, he called me shy because he's calling me on the show, and I'm not coming, because like I was just getting up, like I just got up, and I'm like, okay, let's see what Mel Gill is talking about. I guess the further you go on a spiritual path, you understand the pain better. Because one of the things which pain gives you is this microscopic vision into the things or people or the events around you, which you don't get it without that. I think pain let you see the things in a very microscopic way, where you have a different understanding of everything. That's why people have to go through that pain, because without that one, they don't have that understanding. They look at things differently. You will look at love differently when you go through the pain. And I heard you talking like this spiritual path. I mean, what do you? Uh, and many of the people say when you are on a spiritual path, like now you love everybody, so you cannot love one, which I heard Dr. Melville saying too. But can't you have both? Like, why can't you have both? My
Well,
eyes are tearing up. I'm thinking about it, and my eyes are tearing up. Whenever I talk about love, that's what happens to me.
uh,
Why can't you have both? I want
both.
you,
A spiritual path and
the spiritual path and the love, so that you can realize, because love comes with certain set of emotions, which is pain is one of them
No,
many times.
I never said they were mutually exclusive. I never. You can have both. You can have all three. You can have all five. You can have the seven dwarfs. But the point is, along the way, you're going to experience pain of some kind, not just emotional, but mental, financial. All of these things will hit you at some point. And so the question was, how do you incorporate it into your spiritual development, I guess, as you grow? So I gave them an answer, but again, we could all use a new perspective. And I told people, if you want to grow more, talk less spiritually, and hear the people who have the wisdom to be able to teach and help along the way.
So I've seen with my experience that every time you go through the pain, and then once I know it is very difficult when you're going through it. And if you keep the perspective for, like, if I think about my past and say every time I felt the pain, it brought me to something so beautiful every single time. So this pain which I'm going through right now is also bringing me towards something very beautiful, which I cannot see it with my limited consciousness right now. So I have to expand my consciousness more so that I can understand it better. What is happening? But it doesn't matter anymore, because I have the understanding that that pain is taking me towards something beautiful. And it's like I sometimes, like, I've gone to Costa Rica, and I don't know whether you've gone to Nosara in Costa Rica, which is one of the 5 blue zones in the world. Blue zones where people live more than 100 and everything. Nosara is one of them. Sardinia is another one of them. So when I was going to Nosara, the ride from the airport, even though, like I had the car and everything, the ride is so bumpy because they did not make the roads, right? It's gravel road and bumpy and dirty road. So if you are stuck in that road, you will never get to that beautiful place, which in Nosara is so amazing. So that is the bumpy road. Like when I was going through that, the driver who was driving the car, and he said, "I wish they make a road over here." I'm like, "Why you wish?" Then he said, "Oh, it will be very smooth ride. I can get there in 15 minutes rather than an hour and a half." And I was thinking, I didn't tell it to him, but I was thinking at that point, I'm like, no, maybe they never make that road, so that we have to go through that so that we can appreciate so much more when we get to that beautiful place. So if if I have the choice to take the pain away from my life, I wouldn't think I will like that, right? If God comes to me and say, God says, Ashok, you can ask for anything like you want to. I wouldn't ask for that. I will never have the pain again, because if I block myself, if I create that wall where I can't feel the pain, that means I'm also blocking myself from love. I'm blocking myself from all the emotion. So for me, a day of love is worth a year of pain. I will trade that off, and because it's taking you to a beautiful place. So that's how I look at pain.
You know, there's another guy named Ashok who was walking along the beach in New Jersey, and one day, and he picked on a very special shell, and he started to rub the shell, and lo and behold, this cloud appeared and said, I am a part of God, and my only job is to give you a wish. What will be your wish? And so Ashok said, I would like to build a bridge from New York to Costa Rica to all the other beautiful places across the Atlantic Ocean. And God looked at him and said, wait a minute, that's impossible. You know how deep the ocean is in parts of the Atlantic? Do you know how crazy it is, the traffic with everything else, and ships and everything going into Costa Rica and all of that, the Mexican Bay and all of those? You have to bypass all of that to be able to do that. It's impossible. Make another wish. And Ashok said, I would like to be able to understand my girlfriend. And then God spoke to him and said, how wide did you want that bridge? So there will always be conflict in relationships and things like that. And I think the person who asked the question was asking because they were wanting to know that kind of an emotional pain that they're going through. See, when you go through emotional pain, you are not in perspective. You are not in a space where you say, oh, pain, I love it. I'm growing. Oh, what a wonderful thing this is. Oh, I wish I had more. Unless you're tied to a bed and there's some whips and there's 50 Shades of Grey going on there. It's a different thing altogether. Yeah, it feels good. I want more. And something is wrong with you, so on and so forth. So people try to avoid pain. And we're all animals that go away from pain towards pleasure of some kind, emotional and mental pleasure. So that's why I was asking, you see. But in your relationships and your life, since we're talking about that, do you feel like you can only recognize the usefulness of pain?
It's on the other side.
On the other side, yes, of course. Let me incorporate that. You can only see the usefulness of pain when you've already gone through it, but not while you're in it. It's very difficult. Very few people are able to do that and to be able to pay attention to their thoughts.
So there comes the practice of which we are doing it all the time, like we are doing the meditation, we are bringing that in us so that we have the ability to get out of us and look at that. And more you practice that.
What kind of meditation do you use?
I use all different kind of meditation, Vedic meditation. I sometimes my meditation is I just sit quietly, and that's what it is, and observe my thought. I don't observe the context of those thoughts. Yeah. Okay. I don't observe the context of those thoughts, right? So the context means if I'm thinking about something and I keep on thinking, and then there are chains of reactions and the words, I just see the thought coming and I let the thought go. So what that gives me is the ability to see the things also when I'm going through pain, when I'm going through that. So I hone down with the meditation. People putting too much emphasis on this. Oh, I don't know how to do meditation. If you just sit quietly, close your eyes, and that is a meditation. We don't have to have a guided meditation. We don't have to have a music. I do have a mantra. I do the Vedic mantra meditation too. I do a lot of meditation related with breathing. So it's a mix of things. But what does that give me is the ability to separate myself from this. And so when I'm in pain, I can. It's not immediate, but like maybe I honed it down. Maybe after 15 minutes or 20 minutes, I'm like, okay, I have to get out of me and see whether that pain has got a real meaning, like whether I'm reacting to an event or an incident.
Do you study yoga or
Yes.
anything else?
I do
Does
yoga.
that you do? Does that help you? Is that something you would advise others to do as well?
So that doesn't help me in the way, that doesn't help me with dealing with the pain. Okay, because yoga is different. Like meditation helps me dealing with the events like pain and extreme negative emotions. But what yoga does is prepare me to do that meditation, because in that body, when that body is in balance and it's not bloated and it's not going through all the other things of the body that I drank too much or I did that. So that helps me with my meditation.
So on a practical level, would you like to give some advice for someone starting off? I would imagine a lot of people are trying to be on a spiritual path, if they will, or at least in the general direction of spiritual growth. And two questions. Number
Okay.
one, what advice would you give them? Number two, what is for you a spiritual path? Or what is for you spiritual growth? And why do you want that?
Okay, what was the first question?
Okay, what is spiritual growth? Or what is a spiritual path? And why do you seek that, you as a person?
So I know we talk about so much about self-love. We have to love all of ourselves first and everything. And I agree with that. But that's like a basic stuff, like that is what we should be doing, even if we are not on a spiritual path. I mean, like how I have to make people understand that loving yourself is actually not a spiritual path. That is what we are supposed to do. That's like we are supposed to take care of ourselves first. But after that, once you have gone past that, once you have gone past the kindergarten stuff, then what you have to do is expand that and make it all inclusive. Means for
Why?
me, because that's what the spiritual path for me it is.
Why? Why are you on a spiritual path?
Why I'm on a spiritual path?
Yeah.
Because it feels good to me. It feels to me that I'm doing and I'm helping people, and I'm helping people without even thinking about what I'm getting back in return. So that make it mostly unconditional. I mean, somebody can find out the condition, like they said, that's conditional too, because you're doing it because you feel good. Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but it make it mostly unconditional. And when you do things for the others unconditionally, it brings you a kind of peace in you.
Not for me. I have no choice.
You have no choice to love other people. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I have no choice. Even in the work that I do and the service that I do and all of that, I have no choice. I have to serve. I can't not serve. I have to. I've been ordered. I've been asked. Kind of. If you can call the Great Spirit, you call it by a billion names. I don't know what to call it. Also, even now, let's call it the One. Let's call it the One. Has just kind of rammed himself, herself, itself, themselves into me. Yeah, I have no choice but to serve. This is no option for me. I cannot not serve. I cannot not be on this path. It is, and teach others to be on this path, because it is the orders are to help people go home, to help people return home,
and
not for anything. If I can, I'll do it as free as possible. But and that's coming. That's coming up in the next, this year or next year. But it's going to be happening, where all of it becomes super available to everybody for nothing. And if you really cannot afford, then it's free for you.
I mean, absolutely. That's why I respect you so much that you are doing that. Because
don't respect me because I'm going to say terrible things.
Yeah, I know that
to you about you as well.
I was talking with my friend who also watches your show, and I was talking with her, and I said, you know what, like Mel is somebody I respect so much, but it's very difficult to get a good compliment from him. But I get it all the time. Like I told her, I said, Mel said, don't go over there because that state has got so much COVID infection. And I said, okay. And he said, kid, I love you. That's why I say I'm starting to love you. And I said, that's so. So coming to that point though, like when you say on a spiritual path and you love everybody, okay.
Not everybody. Some I don't waste. Some I don't waste my time with.
Right, but you don't want to hang around with that, but that doesn't mean
I don't
love them, right? Yeah. But then you come across even say my example, because I was going to take some woman's example, but then I know you are going to steer it in a different direction. But when you say, Ashok, I love you so much, so I don't want you to go over there and die. I want you to be around for a while, right?
Sure. I mean, look, you're my only entertainment.
Right. You are mine. But the question is, now you moved from the love for the collective and so many people, and you moved towards the one. Is that wrong though? Like to love one. Like, will you? Let me ask you this question: if you find the woman which you love and you like in so many different ways. I mean, it can be 100%. Like we all have our own filters where we have to have things happen in a certain way. Will you be okay to fall in love with her?
I don't think like that.
Okay, how do you think? That's what I wanted to know.
I know for sure. For a fact, that every relationship is a preparation for the next relationship.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if they will stay or don't stay. It's easier for me to see other people's timelines because there's a distance between me and them, and I can see clearly because I don't have a need or a want that changes my perspective. Because I want to see what I want to see, or I want to feel what I want to feel. So when it comes to me, though, then it becomes a little bit blurry, a little bit tough. But I don't care. It's not that I don't care about the people. I do, but I also trust in that higher force and that higher being that I am. I'm here temporarily. If you find love, like you were talking about, let's call it love. And I find this one, will I fall? I mean, why do you have to fall? It's like your floor is so uneven that you gotta fall all the goddamn time, hurt your knees for what? I mean, there are various positions in the Kama Sutra where you will destroy your knees. You don't want to do that.
Are we getting to the Kama Sutra again? I think we discussed it on so many shows.
But at the same time, I give 100%, and I don't expect anything in return. If people do come, and women, men, whatever that I have to deal with, want to work with, and so on and so forth, I don't listen to the compliments. I don't need them. And I don't listen to the insults because, hey, that's from their disappointment and everything else. Because I try not to be what they want me to be. I am myself. And so if you like it, it will make our coexistence easier. You'll be laughing more. If you don't like it, and I'm not fitting within your narrow parameters of what a quote-unquote boyfriend, lover, husband, whatever is supposed to be, then I'm so sorry. That space looks a little bit too narrow. Do you mind if I sleep in the corridor? Because there's more space there. So I don't, and in the same way, I give everybody the same respect. Total freedom. I am the sky. You can come, you can go, you can do whatever it is you want, but I am absolutely clear about the fact that I don't own you. You don't own me. And it's a very nebulous thread that joins us, which can be blown in the wind, can be can be gone tomorrow, and so on and so forth, based on some psychology, mutant thinking patterns, where you think and you're replaying past patterns and so on and so forth, or you're being blackmailed somehow emotionally. So many games people play on the earth, and I'm separate from all of this because I'm focused on one task. So far, the task is this: to serve, to help. The other big task that I'm doing behind the scenes, sending people into near space. I mean, no one is even talking about it and saying, Mel, how the F are you doing that? And turning seawater into fresh water. How the F are you doing that? Because where people have been trying for years, centuries, and say, well, that's why this month I am actually checking with some lawyers and filing some patents. I created them. Why? Because I can, because I did. And so I want to change the whole planet. For me, that's exciting. I don't go around, maybe it's my Aquarian nature, I don't go around pining for love. I need love in my life. I'm so empty. I'm so, no one.
Aquarius too. I was
yeah, but you see,
but like I think that love is a beautiful thing. But when you say, like in this conversation,
this is why Uncommon Love hasn't come out yet, because I don't have the language to put it in the last 4 chapters, because no one taught us how to love. We love by watching the movies and dramas and serials, and other people make their mistakes and they walk away happily into the sunset, or they listen to songs like "There's More to Love," then making love and so on and so forth. Do they even know? I love you forever. It's like, really? Do you even know 99 years, let alone forever, and what that means, and so on and so forth? So most people are not lovers per se. They crave stimulus, and they're addicted to the stimulus and the feeling of love. They're addicted to the feeling of love, sensual pleasures that come with love, whether it's sexual or tactile or sense of smell, olfactory, gustatory. They're addicted to the stimulation of the chase, of the newness, of the so on and so forth. Why do I love you? Because of the way you make me feel. I am more of a man or a camel, whichever you are, you decide at some point. So I have stopped participating in all of that, much to the chagrin of any current or future relationships that I might be in or see myself in. It's how do you form a relationship with a guy like me? Very difficult, because I see through the patterns. I see through the patterns, emotional patterns, mental patterns.
You have this. You see, you said you're Aquarian, I'm Aquarius too. But the thing is, now what I'm talking about is, because you have seen so much, because in your field, your clients and everything, you have collected that data and you are making the conclusions based on that data. What if there's a new thing trying to happen through you, which never happened to anybody? Now, I know you would say, like, oh, these stats are like, it's like when you tell people, okay, 99% of the married people are not happy, or whatever percent, I mean, don't take me for 90, they said, oh, I'm going to be that 1% exception. I know that is going to be your asset. But like, should we be spiritual people like us, should we be basing our conclusion on the data which we have it in our mind, or data we collected? I mean, aren't we, that is what we are trying to get away from? And we can create something which, do we have the capability of creating something which was never created? Like, could you and I?
Earth is a school. We're not all at the same level. Some of us are in grade 1, grade 4, grade 10, university and beyond, and so on, and pre-university and all of that. It's very difficult to relate to someone who is not on a spiritual path, especially if you're talking with somebody who is on a spiritual path. So, and again, you take a look at priorities. It's not wrong for a man and a woman to come together and want to have physical relationships, a relationship based on sex and everything else, and the niceness and joy of it. And there are a set of values and systems that they must follow. And that's the one we write about, the 17, 18 relationship skills you must have, the art of listening, and so on and so forth, and the art of communication, non-conflict, and so on and so forth. But at the same time, as you grow higher and higher and higher, you begin to realize that maybe both of you may not want the same things. One may want a home, 2.5 kids, and half a pet, or something like this, you know, like all the data and statistics that you're talking about. And they want to live forever in a house in a cul-de-sac where they have neighbors that come over for a barbecue once in a while and swim in the pool, and then watch each other gossip about each other's love affairs with the other person's contractor or pool boy, or whoever the case might be, and so on and so forth. There is a life like that. Then there is a life beyond that, which is none of those things interest me. I am no more a consumer on this planet. I no longer want to buy things and hoard things. I just want to dispense with things, knowing that this will not be forever. If you find a fellow adventurer on the path who's able to do all of that and let go of all of that, then wow, good for you. Then you have a companion. You can sit and have coffee in every coffee shop in the world. Otherwise, you'll have a person who's a bastard or a bitch who's going to be complaining all the time. And they're going to say, I wish we were back home. I don't know why we're doing this. And then you deal with all of that. It's like, wow, what do you do? So in having perfect freedom for your mate, as you are mating, you know, that's important, and build no jealousy, no this, no that, and share everything, because the things you have, money, connections, all of those things are things you want to share with your lover. Of course you want to, if it's for a forever person. But if you meet somebody who's for free ride, who's just with you for the free ride because you've got all of this knowledge and abilities and psychic hoo-ha and everything else, then it's no longer, you know, you are serving. And so you move from someone who's partaking of pleasure to someone who serves someone who's partaking of you. And it's different. If you really want to know, Ashok, and let me tell you this, and you'll find out, in spiritual development, when you become one of the helpers, the guides, you no longer reincarnate on this planet. It's a very lonely experience just before you hit that. And then at that point, when you become the guide to others, the Atman for the Atmans, you know, where you are living simultaneous lives all at the same time, but you are the guide to all these people, you have a genuine joy in seeing them feel love, seeing them feel pleasure, seeing them become independent, seeing them learn the lessons. And there are so many lessons. You can't just put one or two. They have hundreds of thousands of lessons to learn, and they're all at a physical level when you are manifest in this three-dimensional reality. And there are other realities, fourth-dimensional realities, and other frequency realities that we don't even know. Multiple universes within, where the decisions you have made in the choice of woman or man or camel has executed itself to an
To a
end.
certain reality, right?
It's already happened. Yeah.
Right.
And
So
it's
you
hard
think-
to imagine that unless you go into quantum thinking. And quantum thinking is not possible with this equipment that we have. You have to go into a non-linear thinking pattern, non-thought. And that's hard, very hard, because the first step is depolarization. No polarization. Nothing is good, nothing is bad. Everything is. Nothing is pleasurable. Nothing is, what's the opposite of pleasure? Pain, painful. It just is. And the minute you recognize that, you're participating, poof, you're out of this reality. You no longer need to be here. It's already very interesting. But most people choose to come back because it's so much fun. It's like you've outgrown the toys in the playground, but you still want to play.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you put it in very.
But you're no longer attached.
That's right. And that is the beauty of the thing, is when you can know that you can create these realities one way or another by making your decision, because so many people. But the one thing which I picked up from this conversation, this is an amazing conversation what you are talking about. But one thing which I picked out is you said, "Oh, because you are in love with this person." Why all of a sudden, like? Do you hear me clearly? Okay, so when you said, okay, so you are in a relationship and you feel constrained, and you say, "I want to live in the corridor," like, does every relationship make you constrained?
At the risk of sounding bawdy, at the risk of sounding crazy,
Okay.
I'm going to say something, and I hope you understand it. And I don't necessarily show it, and I don't talk about it a lot, because if I did, nobody will understand. But since you are asking, and I see the direction you're going and asking, let me just tell you then. Oh my God, he disappeared from view. I think it's his internet. Shall we wait for him to come back? Yes, and he has come back, and I will add him to the stream. You disappeared at the crucial moment.
I know.
Did you like my answer?
No, yeah, I would like to answer. I disappeared, so I would like to hear that again. You were saying something.
I didn't say it. Yeah, I'm just screwing with you. You just disappeared for a minute.
Okay.
I'm in love with almost everybody I meet, and I spend time with. Yeah, it sounds crazy. I don't tell those people, but I am. If I really like somebody, I send them a lot of energy. You know, and I don't have to do this. It just is. It just becomes. They become enhanced, because there is no distance between. On the other side, there is no distance between people. There is nothing. Zero. There's no such place as far away. Literally, you're not far away, Ashok. You're right next to me. I can send you something warm, and you will feel it right now, everywhere that I want you to feel it. Anywhere that I want you to feel it. This is how I heal. So I heal people, but I also feel love. And if somebody is not lovable, or they've got some kind of evil thoughts and not quite kind people, I don't spend that much time. I don't make the connection because I don't have to heal everybody on the planet because I'll be exhausted and I will die. It's very difficult. I'm still in a human body and still doing what I do, but I heal. I do heal. And all you have to do is say, please, and I'll get it done. I sometimes don't know. Or if you think about me, here's the funny thing. If you think about me, form an image, and you need something, a part of my unconsciousness that lives in a dimension that's quite different from all of this, reaches out to you and gives you what you need. Energetically, somehow. And it's endless. And someone says, well, do you get exhausted at that point? No, I don't. Because for some reason, that part is like the sun. Because, the sun is in the middle of darkness, and yet it keeps on giving all of this heat and all of this energy to people. Not necessarily light. Otherwise, all of space would be lit up. And the only way we can see the light is if we reflect the sun's light. I see you because the sun's light is reflected off of you. That's why people meet each other and say things like namaste. And why namaste? I salute the God within you, the divinity. Right?
That's one of the prayers I do it in the morning is to the sun.
Yes.
And I say to the sun, let me be like you,
yes.
so that I can heal people, all inclusive, like the sun does. The sun doesn't care who the light shines.
But it's no longer 3D. It's somehow past the temporal levels of what we have. I go into the past and I don't know how. It's easy. And I'm doing it conscious and unconscious at the same time. I'm aware of roughly what's happening, but I'm not sure what's guiding it, and so on and so forth. Because the me that is Mel Gill, the conscious, is trying to embrace the unconscious, which is, imagine a child trying to understand the whole planet. That's what I am. And the more I'm exposed to it, the more humbled I am, and I go, oh my God, just guide me. Make me a channel of everything you have. Peace, love.
So do you agree, even when you are on a spiritual path, there is going to be different degree of love for different people in your life?
Everywhere you walk is a path. You're creating it as you walk. The only way you can see your path is if you look backwards and you say, holy shit, this has been a spiritual path. Holy shit, this has been a self-serving path. Holy shit, this has been a selfish path. Holy shit, this has been I don't know what to call it, path. Holy shit, this has been a psychopath. Who knows? I have no. To see that what comes ahead, nothing is wrong. The choices you make, nothing is wrong. Everything you have been led to, pushed into, unconsciously led criteria that push you this way, pulls you that way. Everything, even your relationships, even the way you feel, you are meant to be where you are meant to be. And the more you release it, the much better it is. So my job, maybe your job too, is to make the people be not so agitated, not so concerned about things that don't matter. We tell them through stories, metaphor. We tell them through jokes. I do that a lot. And
stories, jokes, whatever.
And then they begin to realize it's not that important, So if a woman can be with me like that, then and not be afraid or not pretend to be anything, then wow, fantastic, good for you. The path I'm still walking is the path I walk, regardless of who is in or out.
Do you have a question you want to ask Dr. Melvin?
Sure, come ask.
No, she said, I'm okay. She said, I'm okay. That's so wonderful. So how do you, like I go around and I'm helping all these people and doing whatever. And I obviously.
That's good. Do it.
Yeah, but how do you, when you come into that life, and then how do you like when I say there is different degree of love, how do you make people in this world that somebody you love more? Like you said it to me, right? You said, "Oh, I love you so much. I want you to be around for a while," right?
Yeah, for a while. But I didn't tell you how long a while. But yeah,
But if you're doing it to everybody, if
a,
you
a,
are going
a,
to
a, a few minutes more, a few days more, a few weeks more, a few years more. I didn't clarify.
few lives more, but that was amazing. You know, like I guess one of the things which become confusing for the people in this 3D reality is, right, if I'm saying I love you to everybody
Hmm.
and people want to feel special, and yes, there are
Yeah.
special people in my life,
See,
and
see, I serve humanity, but I don't. I serve your spirit. I serve your spiritual growth, but I don't serve your ego, and you will be upset with me because of that. I do
Wow.
not serve your ego. And ego is the one that says, I need to be special. I need to be, the one. I need to be the only. I need to be, all of that. And we maintain our, what's the word when you are faithfulness and all of that, because we don't want to hurt people who are not
So I
enlarged.
serve your spirit. I serve your spirit so we can go on this spiritual journey together, but I don't serve the ego. What a
Yeah,
beautiful
because
quote.
the ego says I'm special, I'm different, I'm da da da. I am Ashok. No, I don't even know who I am. I mean, I am on this earth. People call me Mel Gill, Dr. Mel Gill. They call me psychologist. They call me motivational hoo-ha speaker and all of that. But author of 157 books, heading to 190 now, just for fun, just to do. Is it important? At the time of doing it feels important, but I know ultimately if I take a helicopter view, it's not. And even the relationships that I have, they're not that important, but it's important for that person to be in my space for them for this period, because it will take them out of the pain and circular, life that they had before. And so they grow. And then at that point, I move forward because I serve. Are you a Trekkie? Are you a Trekkie? Are you a Trekkie?
No, I'm not a Trekkie. I mean,
Okay,
I know about Star Wars, but I'm not a Trekkie.
I am. I just am. And so the good, I'm going to say it the way Spock says it, Dr. Spock. The good of the many outweigh the good of the one. Yeah, that's it, basically. My needs, I try my best not to bring it to the fore as much as possible. My desires, I'm doing my level best as a man, flooding with testosterone, to not have the same desires and needs and wants as every other man out there for conquest of one vagina after another. It's mindless for me. Makes no sense. And because you're creating karma and you're creating a lot of pain for a lot of people. So I try, numbers don't fulfill me, and I don't have that. I know that when I leave, some people may never have heard of me, and that's okay. No big deal.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Like I always, actually, Malinka said, what a pleasure to witness today. One of the many. Best of you.
Malinka is a beautiful spirit, also one of these souls on this planet who's changing people with her life and her music and her thoughts. And one of my biggest fans. I love her so much. She's Bulgarian.
And somebody
but she
said,
lives in the States. Yes.
He said, I don't know how to say her name because it's like I cannot see it in English. She said, bring Delia from the kindergarten. I don't know what does that mean.
No, that was
Can you
that symbol is a ja, El Jahana, and the H is an N, so El Jannah.
Oh, okay. So El Jahana.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nikolova. That's Cyrillic, by the way.
No way I can make that Nikolova on the last name. And what? Say that again.
El Jana.
El Jana. Okay.
Yeah. The N is an L, and the H is an N, and and the H on the other one, and the reverse N is an I. So ni, and then Ko is Ko, ko, and then the N again is an lo, and the B is a V. So
Is
Nikolova.
that Bulgarian?
Bulgarian.
Okay. Oh, what does that mean? Like bring Anelia from the kindergarten. Do you know what does that mean?
Her eldest daughter.
Oh, okay. Oh, she's going away to bring her. Okay, got it. I thought with our conversation we brought some entity into her mind. That's great. What a pleasure talking to you. I was like, I just got up and I didn't shave or anything, and I was like, okay, do I want to get? But I said I want to get on this show and talk with you. That is so
it's
beautiful.
nice to see you. I haven't seen you for a while.
You.
And speaking of which, I should be ending the show soon. So, do you have any advice, Shy Shaman from New York, for everyone listening to you about life, about anything, about whatever your soul feels fit to tell everyone? And then I'll begin to start closing the show.
I will say you are going to have a lot of emotions which you at that particular point in your life you don't think they are right, but they are all serving a purpose. They are all taking you to this beautiful place. So embrace whatever you are going through. Embrace the pain, embrace the anger, and embrace the heartaches. Once you embrace them so fully, it will become into this beautiful elixir, which is going to heal you in so many different ways for the thing.
And he's gone again. Like any guru does, they'll be halfway through, and then they'll be saying what they want to say, and then of course he'll come back again. And a guru is only as good as his broadband, the width of his broadband.
Yeah, well, I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe that's all I was supposed to say, because I sometimes I start speaking and I go on this, and you know that, and you have been training me, and it has been confirmed, because like I was talking to Katie, I said, you want to come on the show with us? She said, Ashok, with you talking, you think anybody else has got a room on that show? And with Dr. Melgale, both of them, I don't think anybody else can talk much on that one. And I honor that, because I know I do. Maybe that's all I'm supposed to say.
You are wrapping up.
Yes, I'm wrapping up, and I wrapped it up. I think I said whatever I wanted to say.
All right.
And
thank you so much. On Friday, we are doing a little bit of meditation. And also I'm teaching people how to meditate. So it would be useful to have you there as well, and in teaching. But I'm also teaching them how to walk a spiritual path, and what to recognize. What are the sounds? What are the signs that they are improving going forward? And what are the signs that they're degressing and regressing also at the same time?
Very good. Let's see where I am on Friday. And
right.
If I can, I will definitely come over. So thank you so much. Beautiful, beautiful show.
Thank you for being here. Bye-bye. And that was Ashok. Next Friday, we begin again Uncommon Sense. We will broadcast at 9 p.m. Singapore time, and 9 a.m. New York time, and 4 p.m. Bulgarian time. Luke will try and join us. at that point, taking all the questions that you've asked. As I said before, and Ashok also emphasized, as long as you do not live totally in the body, you do not live totally in the self. So we have a body for a reason. And I think a lot of people who study yoga and teachers of all traditions will actually advise their students, as soon as they get into a pose, to be still, to be able to feel the benefit of that pose that they get into, the complicated pose. And this is a great practice for all of life when you think about it. In countless ways, we worked so hard to get to where we want to go. In countless ways, we get so hard to where we want to go in relationships as well, only to bypass the feeling, the deep rewards of inhabiting the space, that goal of where it is that we thought we would like to be. And so why don't we do that as we achieve our goals, to take our place in them, breathe and feel that goal achieved, or that thought achieved, or that feeling achieved. This is especially true on how we touch each other as human beings, or as lovers, or as friends, as parents, sometimes brothers and sisters. We so often are preoccupied with what we're going to do next as we achieve this goal. Or if there will be a next move, even what shall we do at that point, that we seldom sometimes take the time to feel the deep reward of simply holding each other. It's not about planning the relationship so far ahead that you will achieve this or you'll achieve that. What's the next thing and the next thing? Instead of doing that, just lie down if you want, stand up if you want, hold your lover if you want, and feel that moment. You have taken so long, and it's taken you so much pain, and it's taken you so much work to come to this level of understanding. Just breathe it, feel it, and know that you are here in the space that you work so hard to be in. So by treating each moment of touch as a consummation, if you will, in itself, then we can practice feeling eternity, whichever way we want eternity to be, with your partner, or you can do it alone. So it becomes very, very difficult when a lot of people don't realize that that's sometimes sitting quietly and understanding that you are more than just the body, that you are more than just the goals you achieve. Then you begin to realize how you are connected to everyone, that you can be in love with everyone. Wouldn't that be amazing? You don't have to, you see, we can have multiple soulmates in this life. You don't have to mate with each one of them. They can even be your children. They can be members of your family. They can even be friends you work with at, in your workplace. So in the likeness of everything, you got to realize that everything in the universe is interconnected. And within each interconnection, that's how you see the reflection of everything else, including the reflection of the divine. And I think this insight will actually explain why we are so drawn to certain things or certain people, and why all of the fallen branches that I pick out in this period, sometimes when I go out into my own garden, I will always pick up the one that most resembles the way I've had to bend myself in real life. Not the straight ones sometimes that crack and break, but the ones that are bent just like me. I'm attracted to that. Why? Because of all the places you could return to, you chose the lip of a cliff that was worn by featureless winds, because it lets you feel the worn lip of your heart that you show to no one. It lets you understand that there is a heart within you that no one has ever seen or understands, that has been broken time and time and time again. Not that you carry that break with you to the next person, to the next level. It's being able to understand that there is much more that allows us to be human. And yet, while we're human, we've always been maybe drawn to ourselves in the life that is beyond us, the life that some of us call the spiritual and the growth. So, but too often it's in doing what we are doing, which is break everything down until everything resembles us, that we destroy the things in our path. We want to make our lovers like us. We want to make our environment like us. We want to make everything resemble the inner environment that we live in instead of accepting what is. They are who they are. Your children are who they are. Your parents are who they are. Your lovers are who they are. And too often, though we seldom mean to, we take life the way we do. Food, by, when we eat food, we're chewing all the food we eat into unrecognizable little bits that need to be swallowed whole. But the kind of food that living offers must be taken in whole. Because as it is, wholeness is what counts, not the little bits that we chew it into. And otherwise, if you don't take it in whole, well, it loses its wisdom, its power, its grace. So all experiences, like Ashok said just now, you need to embrace. Whatever it is, you need to fall if you need to fall. But why are you falling? Why are you not rising into love? Why do you have to fall? It sounds like somebody's going to get hurt at some point. So this is our ongoing challenge, not to turn everything into us, but in truth, the deepest function of humility is that it helps us to take experience in and of its own terms, not violating its own nature. All in all, an effort to be nourished by life that is different from us makes us grow even more. We begin to see things from a perspective we never had before. And through this effort that we do on a daily basis, we find the corresponding seeds of such life that is always within us waiting to grow. And they are the common seeds of grace that can sustain us. And how do we embrace more of these common seeds of grace? By allowing ourselves to be open. And even though our closedness protects us, it also prevents us from feeling the entirety of the world. So in truth, we each carry within our own innate makeup, like chromosomes or genes, this minute aspects of everything that forms the universe. And so the art of freedom becomes the necessary adventure of grasping the secrets that are everywhere in the open and stirring the aspects within us in such a way that we become alive. And learning from the fish, how to surface and dive, from the flower, how to open and accept, and from the stone, how to crack and let light in, and from the birds, that wings are probably more useful at times than brains. So rather than finding ourselves in everything, we are challenged daily to find everything that is in ourselves. Until finally, being human is evolving inwards and in the likeness of everything, shaping ourselves to the wonders that we find. Unlike birds, who have known this forever, we too are winged creatures in our soul and in our hearts. And maybe that's what our soul is, the wings that we need to put on our minds, our hearts, and our aspirations. So we too, at the end of the day, will make our alignment with the wings, with everything that surrounds us, into a song that we can listen to that would bring more love, more abundance, more health, more happiness, or at least the feeling of all of this. Why? Because we already had it. We already had it. We don't need any more. We have it. I want to thank you for your patience in listening to me through 11:20 p.m. This program will continue on Friday, and we shall discuss everything concerning how we live, how life is, and at the same time be able to live more happily than we've ever had before. We'll talk about spirituality on Friday. Good night, everyone.